I'm back.
So let's talk about reality. This is a little bit off brand for me as a YouTube channel, but you know, I just figure like if I'm gonna have this YouTube channel, I might as well enjoy it, you know. And I feel like it's really easy for YouTubers to get trapped inside a niche so that they stay on brand. But I don't believe in brand continuity anymore. If you're down for me, you're down. If you're not, that's okay too. I still love you, but I just want to have conversations of all kind. So today we're talking about the nature of reality. What is reality? Are we all living in a video game? Are we all just some sort of characters in an advanced video game? Is any of this real? Are we all dreaming? Like, is this us dreaming right now and it feels real? So I want to discuss, are we living in a video game and being controlled by some kid in a basement somewhere? I think we are. And if we are in a simulation, do we have free will? Let's get into it. So scientists and philosophers and physicists have literally spent decades and centuries banging their heads against the walls trying to answer the question of, is reality real, or is all of this just an illusion? Descartes came up with the phrase that was, I think, therefore I am. So as far as he's concerned, as long as you're thinking, you exist, and if you exist, you're real. Einstein was asked if he thinks this is all an illusion, and he said, well, bitch, it doesn't matter, because reality is real if it feels real to us. I think technology is actually evidence that we are definitely living in a simulation. Let's look at a game like The Sims, or let's look at how we've evolved from Super Mario Brothers to The Sims to COD, or you know, and now we have virtual reality. I just think if we look at the way that like AI and our computing processes have improved over time, and we fast forward like 50 years from now, probably not even 50, like 30 years from now, we'll be creating video games with characters that have free will. And then those characters will be creating video games with characters that have free will and consciousness. And I think this is the cycle that we're in. I think we are in a video game that was created by someone just like us, who then gave us free will, and now we're doing the same. And I think it's an infinite loop of creation, of simulation inside simulation inside simulation. So not only are we in this simulation, we're in infinite numbers of simulations. And when I think about what that means as far as who am I in relation to my creator, well, that means that I am my own creator's ancestor, which means I am God's child, or I am God's grandchild, if you think of the universe or your creator as God. And when I think about it, haven't religions been saying this shit for years, like for decades, for centuries? I mean, I think there's a lot of stigma around religion, and it's really popular these days to hate on religion. However, I think most religions, if not all of them, either explicitly state or they allude to the fact that all of reality is an illusion and we were all created by a superior being or a superior form of consciousness, but that none of this is actually real. It's almost as if this whole simulation theory is really just a repackaging of Christianity, of Buddhism, of what all these ancient religions and philosophers have been saying for centuries. I just think it's easier for us to conceptualize it as a video game because it's 2019 and we live in the internet AI era, and it just makes more sense when you put it that way. The third point of evidence that has me believing that all of this is a simulation and nothing is real is that all of reality is actually just experienced and processed through our senses. Reality is really just your senses reacting and engaging with different stimuli and your brain interpreting those as different sensations. That means that reality really only exists in your mind, and there's no objective external reality. Like, the outside world doesn't actually exist. Everything you're experiencing is just your brain processing all the stimuli around you as different sensations. In the same way that you, as a human being, Like there is a different version of you in the minds of every single person who has ever met you, or every single person who knows you. So there's no objective truth as far as who you are. It's just that everyone around you is just experiencing you differently as different concepts and different sensations. You only exist in the minds of other people. Are you even real? And on top of that, our senses are extremely limited. Realistically, we're really only experiencing a tiny fraction of reality because our senses only allow us. Even if we look at the amount of colors that we can perceive in reality, our senses are so limited that we're only really able to experience a tiny fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum. It's wild. That means there's an entire world out there that we're existing inside that we can't see, we can't experience it, and we have no idea what it looks or feels like because we're limited to this tiny little framework. So anyone who's ever taken acid or mushrooms or like any psychedelic knows and has experienced an entirely different realm of existence. And even at night, when you close your eyes and you go to sleep, you drift off somewhere else into the astral realm, and that plane of existence feels just as real as your waking everyday life plane of existence. So how are we to even know that this existence right now is not just a dream, not just a hallucination in someone else's mind? There's just no way to know. And I also think of things like deja vu, and I think of things like when airplanes disappear into voids, like they just disappear and all the passengers there have disappeared. Where have they gone? Where did they go? Bermuda Triangle? I just think these are all, it's evidence of the simulation glitching. I think every now and then our creator reboots, or sometimes he gets bored and he's like, let me throw in some drama, like let me throw in a Trump. I am also really interested in not only is reality real and do we live in a simulation, but does our creator love us? Like, does our creator want the best for us, or is he indifferent? Is this all just for entertainment purposes? You know? I mean, I think about the question, the famous question, if a tree falls and no one is there to hear it, did it make a sound? And fundamentally what that question is asking is, what is sound? How do we know that something actually exists? And the way I see it, if a tree falls and there's no one there to hear it, then really all you have is just vibrations in the air bumping into each other, but no sound. Because those waves, those vibrations, do not turn into sound until they interact with your eardrum and until your brain processes those vibrations as sound. Because that's all sound really is. It's just your brain interpreting vibrations as sound. I think the same goes for all of reality. I think everything that we perceive and everything that we smell or that we hear is really just your brain processing different stimuli, but it's not objective reality. It all is processed differently by different people depending on how your brain is set up. And I just think that's more evidence that there really is no objective reality. The outside world doesn't actually exist, really only exists in our minds. Let me know what you guys think of this theory. Do you guys think that reality exists? Are we living in a simulation? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and let's discuss. Let me know what else you'd like me to talk about on this channel, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye!